Hello there, everyone. My name is Greasy Caleb, and no, we're not taking a look at triangles. We're not taking a look at the aquariums. We're taking a look today at character slots. So this is the way the module looks, and you'll notice that if you happen to play Nintendo, for example, these all are character icons from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So what our goal is here for the diffuser to give us is we actually need all of our edge work, and then we're going to need the three icons that appear in each different slot, because this module resembles a video poker slot machine with three screens representing characters from the stock icons. So let's actually get all of our edge work present. So we have, oh, it's all indicators. We have lit Bob, lit Mike SA, and lit FR Quebec. Lit Bob, lit Mike SA, lit FR Quebec, and a serial number of Golf Bravo 8, Sierra Victor 9. So now that's all the information that we're going to need, but we're also going to need to pay attention to something else a little bit later on, and I'll get into that later. And you might be wondering, why exactly did I pull up these random modules? You'll see. So our first goal here is to identify who each of our characters are. And what we need to do is we need to figure out whether we're going to be keeping them or just cranking them sort of like a slot machine. So let's figure that out. But in order to solve this module, there are three different ways of which we can actually solve this module. The module is solved when you correctly press the crank button on the third stage. You can go through all three stages. You correctly press crank on any stage, and you have kept every slot correctly, so keeping all three slots, like so. You'll know when you kept it if it's red, and if it's not kept, it'll be black. Or the unicorn, as I like to call it, you press crank while keeping all three slots displaying the same character. This means that you've essentially breached like a jackpot sort of thing, and that's sort of the unicorn that you have to pay attention to. If you happen to have all three slots being the exact same character, you keep all three of them, press crank, and the module will solve, regardless of the actual work. So, about relationships. So let's actually figure out who our characters are, and everything that you're going to see here is ordered alphabetically. So we've got, and if you want to know the names of each of these guys, if you hover over each name, you're going to be able to get a name present for them. So, for example, this guy is Captain Falcon. You've got one of our guys here is Cloud right here. So let's note that down. Cloud is the left one. Cloud. Our next one is going to be, I'm going to highlight Cloud as well, just to make sure that we got it. Our next one is going to be Isabel right here. Isabel is on the right side here. If you highlight over, if you can see the icons match. So we have that. And our last one, I believe, is, what's her name? I remember. Lucina. Yep. So we have Cloud, Lucina, and Isabel. So now what we're going to do for the first stage, for the first part of this, is about relationships. And we're going to be calculating scores for each three of these slots. And if it's positive, and if the obtained score is strictly positive, we're going to keep the slot, otherwise do not. So we're going to go through a series of calculations. And this is actually a rather quite long module, but don't be intimidated by how long it is, but rather just be able to focus on the separate parts of this module. So we're going to go over character relationships. Then we're going to go over down to keywords for each of these guys. So we have Cloud, Isabel, and Lucina. Then we have characters about other modules. Now this is the part that I was referring to. This is why I have all these random modules popped up, because of the fact that there is some scores that we need to calculate for random modules. Let's get Cloud, Isabel, and Lucina. Lucina is right here. And finally, there are also going to be some for or against statements that we need to go over. So let's highlight Cloud, Isabel, and Lucina. And finally, there is going to be one last little bit. Now, if this ever happens to pop up, it's going to look like this. It's the Mii Fighter. So the Mii Fighter counts as a joker, and there actually is no spots to count calculation for. So for example, if we go up to the mic area, so Mr. Game & Watch right here, if we happen to go up a little bit to Mii Fighter, it actually just simply goes over it. Marth, Mega Man, Meta Knights, then this is Min Min. There is no actual Mii Fighter present here. So this actually counts as the Joker card, and there is a special rule for this. You are allowed to keep them only for one stage. Trying to keep the same Mii Fighter during two stages in a row will result in a strike, so gotta keep that in mind. But let's go back up, and let's figure out what we're going to be doing here. So for our first stage, about relationships, we're going to check which other characters have appeared. Now, if we happen to be, for example, in the second or third stage, we're going to keep track of the characters we had beforehand because we need to keep track, we need to calculate the relationships, including from other stages. So if we happen to get something like Bowser Jr. and we happen to have like a stage, like a Bowser or Bowser Jr. on stage 3, and we happen to have a Mario or a Luigi, we're going to have to use those calculations if they were from stage 2. So let's keep that in mind. So if a character appears in the like category, add 1 point. If they appear in the dislike category, subtract 1 point. And this is all going to be relevant to each individual character. Note, if there happens to be duplicate characters present, because there actually is the possibility of you rolling duplicate characters, we're not going to count the individual instance of which, like, we're not going to count the cloud that we have right now, but if there was a cloud in, say, a previous stage, then we would count that cloud right there. So that's how that works. Do not count this instance of this character, even if it's a previous stage. However, if you rolled this character again, count it. That's what that means. So let's take a look. So for Cloud like Ike, Ness, Daisy, Zero Suit Samus, and this is Reed. Do we have any of those present on the module? No, we do not. Any dislikes? Sephiroth, Marth, and Pac-Man. Do we have any of those on the module? No. So currently, right now, Cloud's score is 0. Heading on down next up to Isabel. Isabel, do we have any of these characters on the module? For the likes, we have Villager, Jigglypuff, Daisy, Peach and Daisy, and Ice Climbers. None of those guys are present. And for this one, we have Incineroar, Joker, Wario, or Yoshi. Do we have any of those present for dislikes? No, we do not. So Isabel's score is currently 0 as well. Now for Lucina's score, Lucina is likes Chrom, Marth, Shulk, and Meta Knight. Are any of those present? Nope. And Robin, Sephiroth, and Lucas are the ones that she dislikes. Now, one of the ways that you can actually that could actually help you understand how the module is note that some of the franchises are actually interrelatable. Sometimes there are like examples like Link, for example, where he'll like Mr. Game & Watch, but those two categories are unrelated. But most of the time, you can actually figure out who they like and dislike based off of just their franchise. So, for example, Link likes the other Links. In this case, we have Young Link and Toon Link, and Zelda, of course. But he dislikes Ganondorf, Marth, and Meta Knight. So just keep those in mind with the franchises. But none of these characters are popping up, so all 3 of these guys so far are 0. And now let's head down to the next section. So now, about keywords. So this is why I noted down all of our edge work, because we're actually going to need to use the serial number for this next little bit here. For each character in the keyword, if you can find it in the serial number, add 1 point. Letter Oscar is shown as an Oscar, and number 0 is shown with a 0 through a slash with. That's the way that you can differentiate those 2. So now, for those of you who are familiar with Lion Share sort of wants you to use if one character appears in the serial number, then that only counts as 1 point. However, if one character appears in the keyword, and if it appears in the serial number, that will be counting as 1 point. And it is important to note that there is possibilities of duplicate characters. An example I would like to give is Toon Link right here. Toon Link has 2 W's in it, and if you happen to have a whiskey in the actual serial number, that will count for 1 right here, and 2 whiskeys. That will be 2 points, not 1. So if duplicates do indeed appear in the actual keyword, they will and if that character appears, they will count for however many occurrences are in the keyword, not in the serial number. So keep that in mind. You're looking at the keyword, not the actual. You're looking at the amount of occurrences in the keyword, not the serial number. So do we have any of these characters for Cloud? So Lima, nope. One, nope. Mike, nope. India, nope. And Tango, no. For Isabel, uh, Charlie, no. Romeo, no. Zero, no. Sierra, yes. Sierra. Isabel does have 1 from Sierra, so we'll mark that down for 1 point. Now let's continue on. 5, no. 1, no. November, no. Golf. Golf is indeed present in the serial number, so that is going to be another point for Isabel. Next up, Lucina. Lucina has Foxtrot, nope. 4, nope. Tango, nope, and 3, none. So none of those guys for Lucina. Next up, determining about other modules. Each character has a liked and disliked modules, and those will always be 2 different modules themselves. And they will be marked with the icons from the actual repo. So what our goal is to determine whether they're on here, or if they are, and if they are do they fall into the like and dislike category? If they do, if the module is present on the bomb, then it is worth 1 point. However, if it is solved, then it's worth 2 points. And if it belongs to the like category, you add those points, and if it's disliked, you subtract them instead. So for Cloud, we have kanji and piano keys that he likes, and he dislikes the burnt and skewers. So let's see if we have any of those present on this module. And I'm not seeing any, unfortunately, so that is not going to be adding any points to Cloud. Next up, Isabel. Isabel has 101 Dalmatians in tax returns, but dislikes retirement and break time. Do we have any of those on here? No, doesn't appear to be. Go ahead. Next up, Lucina likes Purgatory and Nomai, but dislikes Necronomicon and Infinite Loop. Do we have any of those present on this module? No, we do not. So we don't have any points to these guys. And finally, let's go down to these statements here. If the for statement is true, we're going to add 2 points. If the against statement is true, we're going to subtract 2 points, and do not do anything if the statement is false. So the for statement is if there is an SMD indicator, regardless of its status, there is not one present. So we're not going to be adding anything there. But it is against if the character is in the middle slot. No, the character is on the left slot. So Cloud is on the left slot. So these rules are both not true. So let's keep going on. For Isabel, there are more unsolved than solved modules. That is true. We haven't solved anything yet, and there are currently 11 modules on the bomb. So there are currently more unsolved than solved. So that is going to be plus 2 points for Isabel. And there are more than 10 minutes left on the bomb. There are more than 10 minutes left. That is indeed true. We currently have 107 minutes, so that is going to be true. This is an against rule, so we need to subtract 2. So it's just going to be bringing us down back to 2. And finally, for Lucina, there is a lit FRK. Nope. And there are no ports. That is true. So for Lucina, Lucina gets -2. There are no ports present on this bomb, so that means that that is the case. Now that we've reached the end of our rules, let's go back up. So, for each stage, identify each character and decide whether you keep the slot. If the obtained score is strictly positive, keep the slot, otherwise do not. So the only case that is strictly positive is Isabel. So the only slot that we're going to keep is Isabel, and now we're going to press crank because Cloud is just 0. It's not positive. It's just 0, and Lucina is in the negative. So let's hit crank, and green stage pops up. Isabel is kept during the stage, and 2 new slots will pop up in the ones that we did not keep. So now we have Pac-Man and Falcon. Yes, that's Falcon. I know that one off the top of my head. Along with Isabel as well. Now, we can keep the score from Isabel because of the fact that those were from the eat statements. But of course, there is the potential that we could actually remove her because of the likes and dislikes. So let's figure that out. So get rid of Cloud. We keep Isabel, but we get rid of Lucina, which I already did. So we're going to add Pac-Man on right here, and we're going to add Falcon. Falcon's right here. So now, this is where things get a little bit interesting with the characters and the relationships. We want to make sure that if we want to be able to pay attention to the other characters that we had from before. So we're going to include Cloud and Lucina in these other calculations here. So we're going to keep that in mind. So for Falcon, we're looking for Star Fox, Captain Falcon, or Greninja. Do we like any of those? We do not have any. We did not have any of those in any previous stage, so that is not going to have anything happen. Next up, we have Wolff, Harry, or Corin. Do we have any of those present? Nope, we do not. So that's going to be nothing added to Falcon right there. Now for Isabel, do we have any new characters present that actually are relevant? I don't see any Pac-Man or Falcon, so nothing changes with this calculation here. And then next up, Pac-Man. Pac-Man likes Mr. Game & Watch, Rob, Luigi, Kirby, and Banjo and Kazooie. Do we have any of those guys present? We do not. However, he dislikes Min Min, Minecraft Steve, um, Cloud, and Sora. So Cloud we did actually have at the previous stage. So this is going to be a -1 for Falcon. I mean -1 for Pac-Man, excuse me. Because of the fact that we had Cloud in a previous stage, that means that we're going to simply consider that as true. Cloud does pop up in the dislikes for Pac-Man, so this means that Cloud is going to get -1. It appears in the dislikes category, we'll subtract 1 point. And Falcon is currently at 0 right now. Next up, let's go into the characters for the serial number. Let's figure out where our characters are. We have Falcon. Falcon has 4, no. Romeo, no. Whiskey, no. 1, nope. November, nope. Golf. Golf is indeed present. We're going to add 1 point for Falcon. So that's going to be it right there. Pac-Man has golf. That is true, so we're going to bring you back up to 0. We do have a golf present in the serial number. Hotel, nope. 0, no. 5, no. Tango, no. Okay. And since we've already done Isabel, we're good to go. So Isabel, we actually know is going to be a keep guaranteed. We know that we're going to keep Isabel this time around too. Next up, let's take a look at the modules we need to pay attention to. The module, we have Falcon, and we have Pac-Man. Pac-Man is right here. So for Falcon, do we have lasers or light speed? Nope, it doesn't appear to be. And do we have Duck Conundrum or Duck Duck Goose? Do we have any of those present? We do not. So this is going to be not changing the score so far. And down for Pac-Man, do we have Vanilla Maze or Ghost Movement? Nope. Or do we have Salts or Frankenstein's Indicator? We do not have any of those, so we're not changing the score at all. And finally, for the if statements, let's see what we have here. So we have Falcon. Falcon's right here. The for statement is going to be if there are more than 2 AA batteries. We don't have any batteries at all, so that is not true. The other against statement is going to be if there are more AA batteries than D batteries. Like I said, we don't have any batteries at all, so neither of these rules are true, but this does mean that Falcon is now strictly positive, so we're going to be keeping Falcon as well this time around too. But let's figure out if we're going to be keeping Pac-Man at all. So for Pac-Man, Pac-Man's for statement is that there is a lit indicator. That is true, so we're going to be adding 2 to Pac-Man right here. And its against statement is there are no AA batteries. That is also true. So what this means is that we're going to simply subtract 2 from you. So that means it's going to be 0. And this means that Pac-Man will no longer be kept because it is not strictly positive. So now we're simply going to hit crank and we should get 1 more slot for this next stage. And lastly, our last one is Rob. Just want to know off the top of my head, definitely. So, one last thing I want to mention is, shoot, I forgot what's on the previous stage. In case you forget which characters happen to appear in an earlier stage, you can press the top bulb corresponding to that stage to make them reappear for a brief moment. So let's do that real quick. So if you happen to forget which was on stage 1, what we can do is we can simply press, let's make sure we don't keep these guys, let's make sure that we can press, for example, stage 1, we should be able to get Cloud, Lucina, and Isabel, and just like that, they do indeed reappear. Now the same thing with Pac-Man and Falcon, these do indeed appear again. Now you can do that as many times as you need to, as you can see. There is no strike for that, but just keep in mind that it's only for like a little brief moment, and the colors are not quite the best. So just you want to make sure that you actually do get that. All right. So our last character that we're going to be working around here with is going to be Rob. Now let's make sure with Isabel we don't have Rob present. We don't have Rob present at all. Okay, that's good. And for Falcon we do not have Rob present at all in any of the likes or dislikes, so that is good. They are neutral with each other. Now let's check Rob and see what they have relation to any of the characters that we have before. So let's put Rob right here. So Rob is going to be right here. Rob likes Mega Man, Banjo and Kazooie, and Mr. Game & Watch, but dislikes Ganondorf, Ridley, and Villager. Do we have any of those guys present? No, we do not. So Rob currently right now, his score is 0. And what this means is that the only way that the scores right now, Falcon and Isabel would have been affected is if they happen to have a different like or dislike in the characters. It's the only way that the scores can be affected from previous stages. But thankfully, we know for a fact that Falcon and Isabel, don't have any grudges against Rob, so we get to keep both of these guys. Now, it's ultimately going to be determined whether we keep Rob or not. So let's go through the rest of these rules here. So Rob is going to be Nintendo. Nintendo sounds promising. November 1, November. Now, if there was a November present in the actual serial number, this would count for 3 Novembers. This would be 3 points total because there is 3 Novembers present in this keyword. So keep that in mind. So November 1, November Tango, nothing so far. 3 November Delta 0. No, we do not have any characters in this keyword, so let's move on. Next up for Rob. Rob's modules are wherever it is. Rob likes robot programming and Turtle Robot, but dislikes I'm Not a Robot or Pointless Machines. So do we have any of those guys present on here? No, because I would have been screaming about Turtle Robot, you know me. We do not have any of those guys present, so far his score is still 0, and now it comes down to the last moment of true or false statements. So let's figure out which one is true and which one is false, or which one there is. There is an AC port if he's for that. Now, this is actually a modded port, so keep this in mind that this is not RCA. This is AC. This is a completely different port. I don't use modded ports, so this is not going to be true, and pretty much his hopes of being kept are gone. So, and just to make things worse, there are no ports. That is true for the against statement. So what this does is this subtracts 2 from Rob. So -2, Rob will unfortunately not be kept, and now since this is the 3rd stage and we've kept all things successfully, what this means is we can simply press crank, keeping both Falcon and Isabel. We'll hit crank, and the module will solve. The symbols of the slots disappear, and just like that, the module is solved. Let's go take a look at one final example and see if we can get lucky, perhaps, and see if we can get a one-stage one. But that's basically what you're going to be doing every time. You have to keep track of every single character that you run into, and sometimes describing them can be a little bit hard. Another thing I'd like to note is that I am actually using the colored version of the manual, which can be found here. If we go over to character slots, if we go over to this little more section, in color has been made by Task, so thank you, Task, for that. But that's what I'm just using to help visualize the module better, because the old manual has it in gray, which can be a bit tricky to figure out. So let's see what examples we get this time around. So let's do the same loading that we did before, and let's see what we get. Let's see how long I've been recording. Wow, I've been recording for a long time. This module is not that tricky. It's just it can take a while sometimes to explain the concept of it. So let's take a look and see what we get. Okay. All right, for our first one, we have Joker, Meta, Incineroar, and lastly Lucina again. So now we have 2 and 1. Play parallel, play parallel, play parallel. Nice. Just gonna mark that times 3 with a serial number of 3 Delta 1 Zulu Charlie 9. Alrighty, so let's go through this. So we have Joker, Incineroar, and Lucina. Those actually should be pretty close to each other. So we have Incineroar, Joker, and Lucina. So let's see what their relations are to each other. So do we have a Joker or Incineroar or Lucina present in any of the likes or dislikes? No, we do not have any of them present. Joker actually likes Incineroar, though. So since Joker likes Incineroar, what this means is that this is a +1 for Joker. They like each other, that means that is a +1 for Joker. And finally, Lucina. Do we have Incineroar or Joker? Nope. So both Lucina and Incineroar are just going to be 0, whereas Joker is 1 because Joker likes Incineroar. I don't know, something to do with fire. They like bird and stuff. I don't know. So let's find the keywords now. So we have Lucina, Joker, and Incineroar. Incineroar, Lima, 4, Romeo, 1. 1 is indeed in the serial number. Alpha, and 7. So we have only 1 that matches. So we're going to mark Incineroar with a +1. So 1. Next up, Joker is Mike, 4, 5, Kilo. Mike 45 Kilo is not present at all, so nothing changes. And Lucina is Foxtrot 4 Tango 3. 3 is indeed present in the serial number, so Lucina gets a +1. Moving on down to the modules now, let's go to Incineroar. Incineroar likes Street Fighter and Pathfinder. None of those are present, but dislikes Boxing and Exploding Mittens. No, we're good so far. Next up, Joker. Joker likes Hold-Ups and Dealmaker, but dislikes the Giant Strength and Learn the Boardwalk today. So none of those are present. That's good so far. Nothing subtracted. And finally, Lucina. Lucina likes Purgatory and Nomai. None of those are present. And dislikes Necronomicon and Infinite Loop. None of those are present. So far, so good. Now it all comes down to the the for or against statements. This can be the making or breaking because these are worth 2 points. Incineroar. There is a lit indicator that is going to be false, so nothing is added. However, the against statement, the sum of the battery holders, indicators, and port plates is less than 5. So we have one battery holder, 2, 3, 4, 4. That'll be combined to be 4. So that is actually going to be less than 5. That is true. And now for Incineroar, we're going to do a -2. So that's going to give us -1. So this means we're not going to be keeping everything so far. Next up, Joker. The last digit of the serial number is 4. That is not true. And there are more lit than unlit indicators. That is not true either. So we're not adding or subtracting anything. Joker is going to be kept for this round. And finally, Lucina. Lucina, there is a lit FRK indicator. We don't have any indicators present, so that's not adding anything. However, the against statement is there are no ports. We do have ports present this time around, so we're going to be keeping Lucina. So unfortunately, we don't get a full-on keep in any of the stages here, but we do at least get to keep 2 of the 3. Incineroar is negative, so that's not going to be our keep. And let's crank. And our next character is going to be Daisy. Daisy is going to be in the center. And now let's go through her rules. But let's make sure that we also don't have any daisies in the other 2 characters that we kept, because those could affect the scores. So we have Lucina, there was no daisies, that's perfect. And for Joker, we have no daisies, that's good. So for Daisy, Daisy likes Peach, Luigi, Olimar, Bowser, and Villager, but doesn't like Piranha Plant, Pac-Man, and Hero. We don't have any of those present, so that's good so far. So Daisy currently is at a score of 0. Next up to her keyword, Daisy's keyword is Sierra for Romeo. Alpha Sierra Alpha, nope, none of those are present. Down to her modules that she likes. She likes Flower Patch and Tennis. None of those are present. But she dislikes Langton's Ant and Neutralization. We don't have any of those present. So now it ultimately comes down to the for or against statements. So let's figure those out. There is a needy module on the bomb. That is not true. Now, already taking a look, 0 is going to be 0 is not going to be positive, is not strictly positive. So this means at this point, Daisy is not going to be present on the is not going to be kept for this round. So we're simply going to just mark that as 0. And even if it was against, it's not true. It doesn't matter because it would be either 0 or negative. So we're just simply going to crank the slots, keeping both Joker and Lucina because they're both still 1. So let's crank it. Our next one is Piranha Plant. Piranha Plant. Spell. I'll just write Piranha. Yeah. Let's head back up to the top. Let's make sure that none of these guys have any issues with Piranha Plant, and then we'll solve the module. So for Piranha Plant, no issues with Piranha Plant for Joker. Lucina, no issues with Piranha Plant. That's perfect. So for Piranha Plant likes Bowser, Bowser Jr., Daisy, Villager, and Peach, but dislikes, it dislikes Mario, Luigi, Terry, and Joker. So since there is a dislike present for the Piranha Plant, that's going to be a -1. Moving on down to the keywords. Keywords is Piranha Plant is a flower. Foxtrot Lima 0, Whiskey 3, and Romeo 3 is present in the serial number, so that's going to be a +1, so that's going to bring us back to a 0. Next up for Piranha Plant. Piranha Plant, let's see where you're at. What modules do you like and dislike? It likes plant identification and flower patch, but dislikes neutralization and desert bus. Do we have any of those present? We do not. And then finally, for the true or false statements, let's figure it out. There is a lit NSA indicator. Nope, that is not true. And there are batteries. That is true. We're going to subtract 2 from you, and that is going to be that. Oh, wait. Before I completely forget, Piranha Plant did have Daisy actually present in the likes category, so that is actually going to be a +1 to Piranha Plant, but that is still not enough to bring it out of the negatives. So now we're simply going to just crank it again without keeping Piranha Plant, and just like that is the module. As always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to stay crazy, stay cool, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.